Hey guys, so today I wanted to share a job I'm going to be working on here on my RV, and that is this bypass kit that was installed. It's a Camco bypass kit on the water heater, and what it allows you to do is two things. One is to bypass the water heater, and really the reason people want to do that is when they're winterizing these, it's so they don't have to fill up the water heater with of antifreeze, I should say. They can bypass it. They can drain the water heater, then bypass it. This is a Camco kit, and it also has this part here where if you attach this, you can actually siphon antifreeze into your lines, and instead of blowing them out with air, you can just pump them through with antifreeze, and then that's effectively how you winterize it. But I was going to do that. I got this RV, I guess I'm the second or third owner, and I went to the water pump, and I turned it on, and the pump wouldn't shut off, which I thought was kind of odd. So I'll let you hear what it sounds like. Oh, take that back. When it's in bypass mode, which I just set right there, there's a switch here, and then there's a switch up there. You put them both in bypass. And what it's supposed to do is obviously bypass the water tank. So you'll hear what it does. Okay, you hear that? Okay, so it's never fully shutting off. And I thought, wow, that's really odd. So what I found out is, after doing a bit of research and looking, is they put the valves on backwards. So if you look at that valve, the common side, which is it's hard to see, it's right here, there's a C stamped on it on the top. And that is the side that is supposed to go, in this case, towards the inlet. It's the part in there that the water should always be able to come in or go out of. And if you can see, it's backwards. That should be over here. And so what's happening is, in the off position, that's allowing a little bit of water to get past that valve. And that's why the pump comes on, shuts off, comes on, shuts off. And they did the same thing on the top one. I don't know if you can quite see it, but you'll see the female side is towards the water tank. And I did a quick drawing just to explain everything, because it's a little complicated till you see it. But up top is how it's currently done. You can see where the common side is on both towards the water tank. And you can see, if in a normal position, this top piece here, the valve's closed, so the bypass is closed, and water comes in through here, comes into the tank, fills up, and then goes out the outlet into the devices. And you can see in this position, it's closed, so it actually works. You would never know anything was wrong. Now these people said they never winterized it. They just kept it in an area where it never got cold enough to have to winterize it. So they probably never tested it. But if you were to go ahead and enable the bypass valves, you'll see right here, because of the way this is done, it's going to shut it off here. So in effect, water would never even be able to make it either into the tank or the bypass valve, because the valve would be going this way and shutting off. And on this side, if you take a look, if I opened this one right in the bypass mode, so it's not going to be here, it's going to be here, you're going to see it can never get out. What would happen is the stuff that did come up and leak past this valve, which it's doing, so it's slowly leaking past this valve, and it is trying to go to the bypass, right? And it's got two choices. It could go this way, or it could try to go through the bypass. But then when it gets up here, it can't get out. So it's either going to go back into the tank here, and eventually the tank would fill up with 6 gallons, and nothing would happen. Then the pump would eventually shut off, but your tank would be full. So the right way to wire this, the right way to install these valves are with the C, or the common port, towards the inlet and towards the appliances. So if you look, in this case, the water is going to come in here, right? The valve could either be this way or this way. So in normal mode, it's going to kind of look like this. So this is going to be open, and this will be closed up here, so water will go straight through there. It can't get through the bypass. It'll fill up, and then again, this one would be closed in a normal mode, so it can't get back down the bypass. This would be open, so it would kind of come in, go over and up and work. Now in the bypass mode, the way why it will work better is because it's going to shut it off here instead of how it was before, where it was shutting it off there and water was leaking past. What it's going to do is it's going to shut off here, so water's going to come in here, it's going to have to go up there, and this is going to be open now in bypass mode, and this will be closed, so water can't go back into the water tank, and the only way out would be through the bypass, which is what we want. So we want it to come in, go through the bypass, and come out. So in effect, at the sink, the hot water, when you turn on the hot water, water will come out, which is what we want. It'll be cold water in bypass mode, but that is exactly what we want it to do. And I didn't show you that, and I guess I'll go ahead and show you that now. I'll turn this on again real quick, and I'll put the hot water on, and then you'll see that like just air and really nothing comes out, which is wrong. So we'll put the water pump on, and you'll hear it. It's the same noise. So in cold mode it works, right? So that's great, but when you go to hot, look, nothing. So I'm in hot, but it's doing the same thing. It's because of what I just described. So I'm going to take a few minutes, and I'm actually going to flip these valves around the way they're supposed to be, and I'll hook everything back up, and we'll try it again and see what happens. Okay guys, well, after reworking these valves, I had to go out and buy 2 females and then 2 males to kind of get this reversed and switched around. Oops. So that this becomes the common. You can see the C now, how that the water's coming in here, going in the common, and it's either going to go up or it's going to go into the tank. Now I have it in bypass mode right now, and I kind of did the same on the outlet. So I don't know if you can see that, but the common is right there, and it's either going to go this way or it's going to go, you know, bypassing this. So it's either going to come from the water tank and out, or come from the bypass and out. So this is the first attempt. I use this here. I love this stuff here. I don't know if you can see it. Director seal number 5 pipe thread seal, and I use it on my gas fittings and water. Now it does say in here somewhere, if you read it, you can even read it, but it says you can apply it to, probably too blurry to read, but it says you could, if it's 2-inch pipe or less, you could apply it on gas or water, and it's for potable water as well, and it can go up to 100 psi, and you could use it immediately. Not exactly sure how much pressure is in this pump, but I gotta imagine it's less than 200 psi. Oh, right there it is. It looks like 45. So I believe when you use water from like a campground and you have a regulator on there, it's around 40 to 50. So I believe all this plumbing's probably made for somewhere around 45 to 50, probably even a little bit more, but this pump looks like it's rated 45. So what I'm getting at is we're going to go ahead and give it a shot and look for any leaks. I have not started this yet. What I'm hoping here is when we start it, the pump doesn't make any noise, because it's in bypass and everything should be off. So that noise we heard earlier where it went rum, 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 I'm hoping it doesn't do that, and I'm hoping I don't have any leaks. So this could be a big fail, and I could have a water leak, or it could work. So we're going to go over here to our water pump, and when I first turn it on, it should start and then pressurize and then shut off if I don't have any leaks. So let's see what happens. Okay, well, that doesn't sound great. But there it goes. It worked. So it was pressurizing and it shut off, which is perfect. So now we just have to look for leaks. And what we disturbed was the inlet, all this stuff right here, and up here. So, oh, I see a little leak right there. So see that little drip coming from right on the it stopped, but I think I'm gonna have to take that off and take a look at that. It's got a real small drip. So that's kind of what we're looking for here. There's just a rubber gasket in there, so hopefully I just have to reseat that and try it again. But there is a tiny drip coming from there we're gonna have to address. But the great news is I don't see any leaks over here, and I don't, other than that drip right there. I might be able to fix that just by tightening it a little more. Let's give it I have it pretty tight, so I'll take a look here. Just wiped it off and tried tightening it a little bit. Yeah, it's a little leak, so I'm going to take that rubber gasket and take a look and see what it is. But the great news is it's working. So other than that small little leak. So what we're going to do now is just see if we have hot water, not hot water, if the hot water comes out, which it should. So we'll go ahead and try that. So now we have hot water. I'm sorry, we have water that's coming out of the hot. We have water that's coming out of the cold. And when I shut it off, the pump shuts off. So I'm going to call this a success. I got to fix that little leak I have over there. But yeah, the bypass was installed incorrectly, which is, if they never used it, they never would have known. And call this one a success.